Hey all, Tony Bing here, hello and welcome to another in-depth review for Marvel Strike Force. Now, for tonight's video I'm pretty excited to say we will be having a look at the Mad Titan himself, Thanos. I managed to get him unlocked. Now, in this video, if you've not watched any of these before, what we do is we look at firstly where you go to unlock the character. We check out their tags so that way we can see if they can work in certain campaigns. We then have a look at their stats. We follow that up by checking out the abilities. We then look at the synergies. This is the teams the character can fit in, and also characters you want to avoid as that particular character. And then finally we end up placing the character in the tier list that I've come up with as well. Now first up we'll have a look at a general overview. This is where you go to unlock him and also what tags he has. First off, when it comes to unlocking Thanos, we've got the Infinity War event that's on at the moment. So you've got the actual Mad Titan event missions. If you can work your way all the way through them, you're getting roughly round about 65 shards for him. He requires 100 shards to unlock, meaning he unlocks at 3-star. Now the remaining 35 shards come from the Thanos raids, and there's different varieties of that. You've got the level 25, level 35 plus, and then you've got the level 60, which is really pretty solid, but gives the best rewards. If you can go in and clear the level 60 with your alliance and score relatively well on the leaderboards every day, you're potentially going to get them to up to 5-star, and that's what I'm aiming for myself. We'll see how I got on there. But if we look at the tags for him now, we've got Villain, Cosmic, Mystic, and he is a Protector. I wasn't sure how this would actually go, if he'd maybe be a Brawler, because he is all about smashing stuff, but they've got him as a Protector here, and that's a good thing because the villains can struggle a little bit, because some of the stronger Protectors such as Kingpin are unlockable very late on in the campaign. So if you can get him unlocked, it should really help you, and as mentioned that applies to Villain, Cosmic and Mystic, so that's really nice there. Now next up what we'll do is we'll check out his stats. We have 6 stats in total we'll have a look at here. Then we've got 3 offensive stats and 3 defensive stats, and these are based on a scale of 80F, and the way I've managed to come up with this scale is I've looked at the maximum and minimum for the characters available in the game, removed any outliers, and then broke that down into the 6 categories, the difference between the maximum and minimum there. So first off anyway, we'll check out his offensive stats. Offense wise then, Thanos really isn't anything special, but he is a Protector class, so it's not to be expected that he'll have the durability and the damage as well. So he's actually D ranking for damage, speed and also focus. Now in our last video with Captain America we talked about speed on tanks and how being a lower rank around about C or D, which is just mid range, isn't actually a bad thing, because it means you can get your attacks off relatively frequently, but it means when you place your taunt up it stays on for a little bit longer, because if you've got high attack speed and you put your taunt up, your next turn will come round quicker, meaning you then lose the taunt. So overall it sits pretty well here for a Protector class. But next up what we'll do is we'll check out his defensive stats. Being a Protector class then, these are really important stats for Thanos. So if we look at health first, this is A rank, and he's actually got the highest health pool in the game at the moment, and if you were able to max him out way up at 7-star and max actual gear tier, then he's got in the region of about 110,000 health, which is really pretty insane. If you look at his armour, he's mid-range here, he's coming in at C, but the reason for that is he's got an awful lot in his kit that can really help out his survivability, and he's got that huge health pool, so he's not going to have too high armour as well. Resistance is E. Now resistance has this chance to actually resist debuffs. That is on the low side, and it means he could get blinded by Hawkeye for example, and his ultimate would miss, which would be an absolute nightmare if that happened. However, here's the exciting bit: if we can see that he can actually gain extra resistance through his kit, he can receive drain on his ultimate skill, and he can actually provide offense down as well. So if you look at that huge health pool and you add in all these other little extras he's got, he can be really pretty nice as a tank. But next up what we'll do is we'll check out his abilities. For the abilities then, we have a look at his basic, special, ultimate and also the passive. Now the tooltip I'll show off will be the skill when it's actually maxed out, but as I'm discussing each of them I'll tell you personally how far I would level them up, because the materials that you use to level up your gear can be a little bit rare, so you don't want to go using them and potentially not making a lot of difference to your character in doing that. Now when we look at the passive first, this is pretty awesome. It's Titan Eternal, so gain extra resistance while taunting, so that makes up for his low rank and resistance we've seen a moment ago. This next bit here is awesome. It's on kill, generate 2 ability energy to yourself or any Black Order ally. So it's awesome because it confirms the Black Order will be coming to the game, but also until they do, when Thanos is able to get a kill, you've got that 2 ability energy which can charge his skills up really quick. So absolutely fantastic passive. Now personally I would say that you want to max this one out, take it all the way up to rank 5. For the basic, we have an ability called Power Punch. This is a pretty simple one. You can get a pretty awesome animation on it though, where he lifts them up by the throat and then slams them down into the ground. I really do like that a lot. Now with this skill you attack the primary target for 200% damage and gain counter. This particular one I would take up to round about rank number 5, because that will give you a decent amount of damage and it gives you an 80% chance to counter, and while getting the 100% chance to counter at rank 7 is nice, is it worth in the region of about 300 tier 3 materials? I don't actually think so. For the special we have the staple of any protector class. Really, you need to have the taunt there so they can actually pull aggro from the enemies. So this is Brutal Assault. It takes 4 turns to charge and it actually comes fully charged, so you can use it at the start of the battle. With it maxed out, you attack the primary target for 350% damage and apply a fence down, so that's nice if you use it on a target that's got high damage such as Gamora or so on, and you also gain taunt on it as well. This particular one I would take up to about level 5, because at level 5 you have the 100% chance to apply a fence down and you've just got a little bit less damage in there, but it'll still do a nice amount. If you are a Thanos nut, of course, then take it up to level 7, but personally I would say hang about level 5 in this one. For the ultimate we have an absolutely incredible looking skill here. This is Energy Bomb. It requires up to 7 turns to charge, but it comes with 4 charges in it as it starts off, so it's only 3 additional turns to charge up there. With this you attack all targets for 240% damage and 100% drain. When I've been using this myself, I've been finding it's restoring round about 30-40% of my health pool, and he's got a huge health pool as well, so this is really nice. This particular attack, it says this cannot miss, so that means that it will work its way through dodge and evade, but if Thanos is blinded then it can miss, so that's something to bear in mind there. So if Hawkeye throws a blind on you, don't fire off this skill, wait till the next turn till the blind is worn off and then start smashing everyone up with it. Now finally, one thing I'll mention that is relevant, it's got the fact that it takes 7 turns to charge, which is pretty huge, but bear in mind with the passive that if you're getting a kill as Thanos you can gain up to 2 energy, so you can get this charged really nice and quick, and again you can get the huge drain on it. So yeah, it's a really good ultimate this one. But next up we will check out his synergies. When it comes to the allies that you want to pair Thanos up with, then this really ties in with the fact that I feel he's almost a more defensive orientated Crossbones, and he's a tank but he's got the huge nuke as well. Now one thing that Crossbones and Thanos lacks is they don't have defense up at all, so they've got a taunt, you're pulling all the enemy fire, but you don't have defense up to actually mitigate some of that damage. So that's why if you run him with another tank and use him as an off tank essentially, he can work really well. So if you paired him up with Captain America or Luke Cage, they will work great for the defense up, but they can also give him ability energy which can charge up that ultimate skill, which in turn will give him more health back. If you pair him up with Kingpin, you get the defense up, but you can also get a fence up, and if you time that right with his ultimate skill you'll be doing more damage, and it's got the 100% drain, which again means more health you get back. Now next up, this particular one I wouldn't really go out my way, but it's a character that could work with him, would be Jessica Jones. The reason being, she can generate ability energy and also she increases the resistance of characters. So if you're taunted with Thanos, you get resist up as it is. Jessica Jones pulls that up even higher. If the enemy can't remove the taunts from Thanos, then they're really in trouble, because with that huge health pool, they're going to be hammering away on him for a while, and he's got his lower speed as well, so that the taunt will stay on him for longer. Now finally, I've got the Black Order here, and I've got a little question mark next to it because I'm pretty certain it will work good with them, but we don't have any specific details as of yet about them. But I'm pretty excited what we do get to see in time, and to be honest, what we get in time with the Black Order will potentially change the tiering of them, if that's not spoiling too much. But what we'll do now is actually look at the characters you want to avoid when you're playing as Thanos. When we look at characters that could cause Thanos a bit of trouble, the first one we have is Korath the Pursuer. Now the reason he can be dangerous is he's got really high attack speed, so he can attack at the start of the battle, really before anyone else except for Black Widow I believe, and he can apply ability block and also heal block as well. So if the ability block goes on, Thanos can't cast his taunt, which means he can't get his resistance up, and then you've got the other characters that can now come in and start to apply their debuffs to him. So you want to watch out for Black Widow and Spider-Man as well, because they can both stun him. With the slower attack speed, he'll be stunned for a while. If you're actually playing as them and you're up against Thanos, just make sure you don't use your stuns when his taunt is up if you can, because there'll be a much lower chance of them applying. Finally, we have a character we've already mentioned earlier on. This is Hawkeye. The reason he can work pretty well with Thanos, or work against Thanos even, is that the blind will apply to him, and it will mean that his ultimate, which has the cannot miss tag, will still miss if you are blinded. But just to confirm, it does work its way through evades and dodges as well. But what we'll do with all that covered, we'll now see where he falls on the tier list. For this tier list here then, we've got 5 different ratings. The most powerful one is Omega, and this is reserved for god tier characters that can really work well in any team, and then as we work our way from left to right they get less powerful, with the lowest one being level 1, reserved for the worst of characters and ones that even if you're a fan you want to think twice about leveling them up. Now Thanos, where would he actually place here? I will say this was a tough one, but for now I would say that he is an alpha character. Now the reason for that, he's got his pros, which are his massive health pool, over 110,000 when fully maxed out. He's also got counter, he's got a fence down, he's got that incredible ult. However, the downsides he does have is that you need to get that taunt up to actually have resist, and if the enemy can attack you before you've got the taunt up, he's going to have really low resist. He's going to be more susceptible to debuffs, he can get locked down, and once he's locked down with his slightly slower attack speed, he could be in trouble. You've also got the fact that whilst his passive is incredible when you're gaining energy on kill, you need to actually get that kill. So if you're not going up against summons, or if you're not using them in a mode where there's lots of trash, then you won't be getting energy that often for them. And then finally there's the fact that to be a mega tier, you need to be a character that can really fit into any team on your own, and you don't need anyone else to back you up. Whereas with Thanos, that I feel that at the moment he probably does need another tank running alongside him to get the full potential of him. Now I've got a suspicion that once the Black Order come out, depending on their synergies, this will change and he'll probably move up to a mega tier, because he is very close to it, just to make that clear. So if that is the case, the Black Order come out and they push him up further, then what I'll do is I'll actually add into the description of this video if his tiering has changed at all. But I hope this video has been helpful. Next up, I believe we've got Hulk and Thor, so keep an eye out for them. They'll be out in the next few days, and as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all again soon.